Dog Gadgets. Live.
Hey everybody, it is a Thursday, right?
Thursday.
It's Thursday. I'm Josh from Brown Dog Gadgets, and as always is our fun producer Pete.
Hello.
Off to the side. He's not just a nebulous hand.
Disembodied
He's
hand.
a real person with real feelings and a body to attach to that hand.
Thank you.
Just off to the side here. So it's Thursday, which means we spent most of this week doing other things, and we have a wonderful guest today. And Pete,
Yes.
who is our guest today?
Should I bring our guest in?
Let's announce her first.
Alex Glow.
Alex Glow.
Alex Glow.
And yeah, we're gonna bring on oh, look, Alex Glow is not just a name. Alex is also a wonderful
Would you
overlay.
like to meet our guest?
Let's bring our guest in there. She's kindly waiting. Hey, Alex.
How's it going?
Going well. And look, you have information below you too, where people can find out more information about you. But Alex, tell us, why are you so cool?
Well, you see, it all started with a science experiment gone wrong, or gone very right. I think that I had a lot of influences growing up from different adults who were into different stuff, and that's why I'm excited about many different things, and I think that's what makes someone cool!
There you go. And Alex, who do you work for or work with? You could announce it. You're better at that than I am.
I work at Hackster.io. I produce videos and tutorials and other content around technology, hardware in specific. So, for example, Archimedes is a project that I built, an AI-controlled robot owl, and there's all kinds of interesting AI stuff like nowadays. So right now, a lot of my work feels like it's about translating the issues that AI faces into ways that people can affect the future to make it more positive. So, for example, like the thing that's been taking up my brain space this week is how like IBM and Amazon and Microsoft are all doing this stuff around like, oh, let's actually think about before we deploy facial recognition. And that's been a big part of my journey with Archimedes. And so I thought today I would build a little companion robot that is going to be AI powered as well, but also brings up more of the same ideas.
We love companion robots. They're fun and can fill our COVID-filled lives with much needed social interaction.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And less work than a pet, too. Less to clean up afterwards.
Less to clean up, less to feed it. You know, if it breaks, then you don't have to spend $1,000 right now on it. You get to just, like, fix it in your own time. You're learning stuff constantly. I'm not going to say that I wouldn't love to have a pet cat, but I will say that no one's allergic to Archimedes.
It's true. Well, if you really want a cat, Pete can send you one of the 3 cats he has.
I need all 3 of those cats. I cannot send any of them.
I wouldn't ask that. I'm sure they're happy where they are.
Well, let's see your project. Yeah, well, let's go ahead and see. We'll let us see your project and how it's all put together.
Cool. So it's not put together yet. I was thinking about building it in advance, and then I was like, oh, it's about building something on Earth. So let's take a look. What we got going on here?
Yep. Yay, little Josh.
So here we have. Yesterday I was just doing a video on cathodes and anodes and how those terms apply to LEDs and batteries. It was really confusing because on a battery, the positive side is called the cathode and the negative side is called the anode. But on an LED, it's the opposite. And I was like, why is this stuff so confusing that I have to keep looking it up over and over again? And the nice thing is that I can just make a video about it, and then I can go and, like, past me, teach me about cathodes and anodes again. I can be like, yeah. So this is like a simple LED throwy that I used as an example. But I went a little deeper and pulled up an RGB LED. So this is basically 3 colors of LED in one package. I'm sure you're familiar. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these come in 2 forms. There's common cathode and common anode versions. So it depends on if all 3 colors share one ground pin, and then each one has its own positive leg, or vice versa. So I was like, how can I make something that would be cool around companion robots and LEDs and things? And what I've got here is the Arduino Nano 33 BLE Sense, which is a mouthful. But I think it's one of the most exciting boards out there right now. And it's you can run TinyML on it. You can do machine learning on it. But I haven't quite got it up and running yet. What I do have is a wiggly camera, and also I have my previous sketch that was running on here, which was to be a companion robot brain, which uses a service called Chirp that is now sadly going out of existence. But you can see how I would send it a color, such as red, and its little, oh, come on, make the noise. I gotta restart this, sorry. So Chirp is this little machine-to-machine data communication language, and it sounds like R2-D2 noises.
That's pretty cool.
And then the Arduino turns the LED that color. So yeah, the idea with this is that I thought it would be cool if robots could talk to each other over data, and then they could respond, and the LED test is just a very basic example of that. And so for this one, I thought, well, you can stick an LED in here. Ooh, that's supposed to be off right now, actually. When it's red, this LED should be off. So I might have to tweak this sketch a little bit, actually. But when I turn this blue is when that LED is supposed to come on. So I'll have to tweak that. And that's just a matter of writing a few lines of code where it tells that LED to turn off if it's not the active color. So there's 3 pens here that each are assigned to a different color. So I can have a red, a green, and a blue one. And that will mean that I'll be able to build a little robot that just has an RGB LED on it and responds to different commands and things by turning that color. And it'll have moods, basically. And eventually I want this to be in machine learning, but for now it's going to be in chip. So what I've done is I've looked up, I used to make these things all the time, these origami balloons. And I forgot how to do it because it's been years and years. And so I've looked up a guide on origamiway.com.
Oh.
And I'm going to finish building this little balloon and put the Arduino inside it. And then I want to run Maker Tape from the pins of the Arduino to the pins on this RGB LED, and then I'll be able to trigger different moods by playing different chirps at it. How's that sound?
Sounds cool to us. We love origami things. We make a lot of 3D paper crafts of our own, and we understand, like, we're like, this should work. We made this when we were kids.
I know,
We have
right?
to look it all up again because it's been, 25,
It's been
30
so long.
years.
So I'm going to finish trying to build this, and in the meantime, we can chat about whatever. Yeah, I think one of the most interesting things going on in machine learning right now is that it's being placed on, they call it edge devices, which is, having the machine learning algorithm loaded onto the device itself, like an Arduino, can actually hold a machine learning model. And let me remember how to do this. I think it's like this. Yes. I could be wrong. Let me double check. So you do it in half. Oh no, you do it into quarters, like so. And then you peel them out. Okay.
Do you need special paper for this project, or just standard paper?
No, this is just a little kind of a thick printer paper.
Ah.
Okay.
We enjoy 60-pound paper for a lot of our paper crafts. Thick,
Oh,
but
yeah?
not too thick.
That's nice.
Wow.
Like glossy
Oh,
or
do this
matte?
anymore?
Oh, matte. Always matte.
Always matte. Okay.
Always go matte.
Always.
Well, then you can put like magic marker and Sharpie on it without
Right.
issue. If you go glossy, it gets smeared everywhere.
Yeah, it's
We
not
learned that the hard way doing crafts with kids. Gave them glossy paper to work with, and there was marker everywhere,
Marker everywhere.
all over
Yeah.
the children.
Oh,
It's
like
washable.
this.
Yeah.
I usually hand out permanent, Sharpies. for
Let
the
me
kids,
have a look. Yes, that's what we do. Okay, good. Like the left foot to make it stand up vertically, and then open along the crease. Yeah, I think it does. No, it's wrong. Oh no, guys! Can you tell me how to fold an origami balloon? I should have done one
No.
in preparation before now. Oh, you know what? I think I actually did all the steps. I just didn't realize it.
So Alex, I'm gonna tell you my origami sad story. I lived in Japan. I lived in Japan for 5 years. I taught elementary and then middle school students, and of course, a lot of Japanese students they learn origami. It's a craft kids do.
Oh yeah.
And our city had its city symbol was a rose, and so all the kids knew to do this very complicated 100-step origami rose. Like all the kids did. It's something they all learned, and they're like, Josh Sensei, we're gonna teach you. I'm like, okay, well, I have these big hands, and this is a really small piece of paper. They're like, no, do it like this. I'm like, I could never get it. like 5 years I tried off and on, just like
no.
sorry kids, I just give up. It's really cute, but it's like 100 steps.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I don't think I have the patience or the
Many
like
steps.
dexterity for it. But it was just those kids were always just they mocked me so, and rightfully. I mean, they're kids. They should mock me. Shoot, all those
They
kids
should
That's what grown-ups are
respect
for.
you.
all those kids are probably in their 20s now. 'Cause it's
Wow.
been like 15 years. But anyway, fun times with origami, and so we do a lot of we call them origami circuits, but they are like folding and cutting. They're not pure origami because that's way too much work. I know we use the name, but it's not really pure origami. I'm sure. Well, if people knew where we were, we get some angry letters in Japanese about it not being real origami. Oh, they're really nice people
Yeah.
though, so
Yeah,
probably
no.
not.
No, yeah.
Maybe-
I really hope that I haven't accidentally skipped some steps here. I'm just kind of working.
You know what?
But if all else fails, you guys something else.
If you skip them, they couldn't
Yeah,
have been
though,
that
I
important.
love
right?
it. And there's lots of different valid ways to do things. Like maybe you don't call it origami if it doesn't adhere to certain specific rules for that thing, but you can like reference it. That kind of adaptation is very interesting to me.
Yeah, paper crafts are great because, especially for kids, because something everybody does, and it's I'd say very non-threatening from an educator perspective. Like everybody knows how to do paper crafts. It's just you can just do it. So it's a known subject material, known difficulty. So it's a nice way to sneak in like electronics. That's always our thing. We sneak it in, just add some tape and LEDs to it, and like, oh yeah, I already got this whole paper
Exactly.
thing. Oh, kids.
So my new companion robot is called Fenrir, and he's made out of cardboard, largely,
Ooh.
at least for prototyping purposes. And that's part of the deal with. Oh yes, I think I did this right. With that is that while you're prototyping, I wanted to use something that's very easy to recycle. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to blow into this hole in the top, and that should inflate it, unless this paper is too thick. Oh no! It might be too thick. Oh no! We'll figure this out. Okay. Oh, I don't have the lungs for this. Oh man.
Pete's,
Well, I
Pete's
sort of
playing some
squashed
sound
it.
effects.
I know, right?
Oh.
I can sort of squash it, open it up and kind of squash it into a box shape. How often do you get that sound effect on your show, I wonder?
I don't know, because actually I can't hear it usually because I don't have headphones on most of the time. For I know,
time
Pete is
ever.
just constantly doing sound effects the entire time.
Pretty much, yeah. And you never watch
So this
it.
is the inelegant version that you get when you use a paper that is too thick to easily inflate with your pathetic lungs. But here we go. Yeah.
That's
so we
pretty
have
good.
a box
Lord.
balloon kind of thing.
Yeah.
And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a face on it. Now I think this is kind of cute. It's got like a little eyebrows kind of thing going on. So maybe I'll put the eyes over here. Do. It almost reminds me, speaking of Japanese culture, the Daruma dolls,
Oh.
where you paint in one eye when you make an aspiration, and then you paint in the other one when it comes true. That would be kind of a cool robot to make. And then like, just a really happy face. Okay, so that's our robot. And now I'm going to try and open up a little space in the bottom here and cram in the Arduino. Actually, you know what I should do first is I should attach the maker tape. And then I'll be able to cram the Arduino in there and everything will be nice. So, I do need to reprogram it a little bit, but I can do that because it'll have this USB still attached. So what I want to do is, this is I didn't check if this is the same as my other one actually. Is it a common ground? Oh, thank goodness. Okay, so this has a common ground pin for all three colors, meaning that if I put voltage into any of these three other legs, they will light up. Hey, what you doing? Oh, lol. There we go. See, this is the blue and green legs, and you get cyan. If you do the green and red legs, you probably get yellow. Oh, you know what? Actually, it looks like it's taking the path of least resistance through the red LED.
Huh?
So maybe we don't do color mixing. What I'm going to do is have the ground leg on one side, and then these three on the other side. How should I structure this? It kind of looks like a chicken foot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What can we do with this?
Or a broom.
Or a broom, yeah. What if I have him like... This is honestly a large part of what the companion robot building process is like figuring out how you're going to do this, like design it in a way that makes sense with the electronics and the materials that you have. So let's see, I think I'll put it so that his left arm is like holding this ground, and then his other arm is like holding this other side. But his other arm is, well, you got 2 legs as well. Well, yeah, that's easy. We'll just have 2 legs as well. Okay, so we have... I'm trying to make these not cross each other, but I'm going to arrange them so that he can have 2 legs and 2 arms, and his left arm is the ground arm, and the other 3 are positive. And then somehow this has to attach to the battery. Oh, duh, it's not on the battery. It's going to be talking to the Arduino. Okay, I'm still on yesterday's video. So here we have the maker tape. I'm going to start by laying some little tracks. I gotta remember which one is the ground leg. I wish I had a Sharpie. Lessons we learn.
I always bend one of the legs, like just bend the end of the leg, just as a reminder for me.
Ah, yeah. There we go.
That's my Josh way of like which one is negative or positive. Just like, nope, bend one leg.
Yep.
I always forget and mess up on my videos. Like, which one is it? Don't do what I'm doing, kids.
Oh, goodness, yeah. Have you heard of Pepakura Designer? I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Software, right? Is it a piece of software?
It's that thing of where you can take 3D models and turn them into... Actually, I think Blender has a plugin for this, actually, but I wasn't able to get it working. You can take 3D models and turn them into flat papercraft designs that you can print out on paper. I think that'd be a great direction for companion robots to go.
Sure. I always like when you get, people would take the 3D models and then laser cut out like cardboard layers.
Yeah.
And then just layer those together. I'd see those at maker fairs and teaching events every now and then. Those were very fun.
Look, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of what Fenrir is based on, but I didn't use any kind of an application to design it. He just sort of, I just kind of eyeballed how I wanted the layers to look. I'll show you him after we get done wiring this up.
Sure.
I'm having some apprehension here, where I'm afraid that the pins I've chosen will be too close together.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, that because like on our like crazy circuits parts, like we have Lego shaped holes, and that's just enough spacing to use the 1/4" tape you're using. We usually use 1/8" just to be super safe.
Maybe I should switch.
Or you could change the pins or something like that. It just depends what you have on hand is the big one.
Maybe this is a good time to try doing that that reprogramming I was talking about. And I can also bust out this 1/8" maker tape that you so thoughtfully sent me.
Yay.
So I'm going to pull up, I don't know if I can screen share, but I'm just going on create.arduino.cc,
Oh, sure.
and I'll share this code later on. And let's see what pins we have. 22, 23, and 24 are the RGB LED that's built in.
Oh.
Let's see. Then I've got 2, 3, and 4 as my external LED pins. That makes sense. Where have I defined those? I want them to be output pull-up. So let's see. If we go with ground, D4, D6. No, ground, D4, D7, and D10. That should be pretty good. So 4, 7, and 10. And I'm going to go ahead and edit the sketch as well so that those pins are turned off when they're not supposed to be activated. So, this only takes a second, so
Sure,
not too bad.
sure. Maker tape. Not just tasty, but also conductive.
What are you advocating here? I don't know if we should be teaching the children about that.
Eating tape? I mean,
My cat tries to eat it.
Yeah, my dog tries all the
I'm
time
not gonna
too.
say I've never eaten tape, and I'm not gonna say I'm not a better person for it, but
Maker tape found at browndoggadgets.com, as seen on this wonderful link, and Amazon and your nearest educational reseller website. Thanks for the ping there, Pete. Ping. Eh, so, Alex, I have a question. Is that one of the new Nanos that just came out last year or this year?
yeah,
I've not played
that's
with
my
them.
favorite one.
Is the bottom flat as well? Like, are there any components in the
Yeah,
bottom?
there's no
That's,
component.
yeah, so you can
It's
totally.
castellated, so you can mount it to other PCBs.
Yeah, it's nice. That's what I
Yeah,
liked about it.
and
It's like, ooh, that's really snazzy.
okay, cool. Our
Uh,
circuit is good. I should test this somehow, but God knows how. Ah, well, anyway, we'll just see what happens. And my camera is wiggling again. That's great. Okay, so here we got the 1/8" tape. We're gonna switch to, and I'm gonna try to not have it unravel all over the desk.
That is always a challenge.
I heard a thing about working with copper tape, and I know that a big part of the bonus of Maker tape is that it isn't copper tape. But I heard that if you take your finger and put some Elmer's glue on it and run it along the side of a roll of tape, it will help keep it from going everywhere and unspooling everywhere.
Yeah, or
Although this is already sticky on the side, so it actually
Oh.
self-adheres pretty well.
a little bit, depending on the roll of tape and where it comes from, and like it. Yeah, where in our batch of stuff it's come from. Sometimes that I know when I was a teacher, we'd use like rubber cement on stuff like that because rubber cement
Oh
it
my
dries
goodness.
really quickly and it just a
that?
little more peely than Elmer's. But yeah,
Oh, why
that
did I peel this the whole way? Speaking of peeling, why have I done that?
yeah. But yeah, so that's totally a useful way of working with that. Is doing it that way. Pete actually laser cut out as a project that should be posted on our website one day. A really nice, like a laser cut tape dispenser, wasn't it, Pete?
I wouldn't call it really nice, but I would call it a tape dispenser.
It was pretty functional. I think you were like less impressed with how it turned out than the rest of us were. Like, wow, that's really cool.
That's
You're
true.
like, it kind of
It's
works.
version 1. Yeah.
There's the kind of dancing bear effect where you're really excited about something just because you haven't seen it done before. But I would also get really excited about cool ways of building stuff. So I don't know which team I'd be on.
I mean,
I'm pretty excitable. I'd probably be on team Wii.
I'm still like geeking out over the conductive Velcro we got a couple weeks ago. So
What?
yeah, Maker Shed sent us some conductive Velcro to play with. They just apparently found like a box of it in their warehouse randomly. Like, here, have some Velcro, and
That sounds sweet.
yeah, actually, it's right here still, and it's nice. Thanks, Pete, for those wonderful sound effects. I mean, it's good stuff. It multimeter wise works really well. We're still haven't found a good project for it yet. It's also not super cheap to purchase typically from the places we found it, unfortunately. But I love conductive medium materials. There's so many great conductive fabrics these days. It's just what can you do with them? Like, it's really
yeah.
cool. Like, but you need to have a good project or plan. And
Yeah.
like even we've been doing with like our Maker tape in our shop, doing simple like wearables, but using Maker tape instead of conductive thread just to make it more kid friendly. Just because of the time and sewing constraints. Sewing
That sounds great, honestly.
sewing is a good skill to know. It's just takes a bit of effort to do for kids, you know.
I get so frustrated with conductive thread because it's so fragile.
Yep. And it's just I always tell teachers, like, unless the kids know what they're doing with sewing, if they have a little bit of sewing skill, the lesson doesn't become electronics, it becomes how do you sew. It's sewing 101,
Yeah.
not electronics. And I
It's
know
like-
is it Scouts and 4-H and groups like that tend to do better with those activities because the kids already know what they're doing, but
Yeah.
everybody else is it's such a rough time. It's a classroom management nightmare. I always tell people, so use Maker tape instead because it's a project for kids. They're going to get bored with it after a couple hours anyway, so it doesn't have to last forever. Sewing.
I'm familiar with that type of frustration from trying to teach bike lights workshops and having to teach everyone to solder first, which, is like part of the reason that I was teaching the workshop in the first place is to like show people how to solder. But, it does take up the majority of the time of the workshop. You're 2 hours in by the time you even get to the, like, what is an LED and stuff.
We did a large workshop, like a makerspace experience for a corporate event a few years ago. and we were told that, oh no, it's maybe a sales conference, but they're all engineers, or most of them are former engineers. They know how to solder. No,
Uh-oh.
everything was like teaching people how to solder. Like, oh, I used to solder. I'm like, well, when? Oh, back in high school. I'm like, how long ago was that? Oh, like 45 years ago.
Oh boy.
And so it was simple soldering, but it took much, 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 much longer than anybody expected it to. Because also people chatting with their friends. Some people had a few drinks, but yeah, it was a learn how to solder activity with a medium difficulty project. Which, yeah, good times with management.
And we know they touched a lot of lead then, if it was that long ago.
Oh gosh, constantly touching lead-based solder. No, we always use lead-free, Pete. Lead-free.
No, they did back in high school.
Oh yes, back in high
we
school,
had back
especially in Europe. A lot of them were European. I mean,
Exactly.
just love touching lead in Europe. I'm told.
Oh yeah.
Lead
yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like put in coffee, like sweetener.
That.
Europeans.
Gotta have that old time flavor in the water and stuff.
Oh, tasty.
I'm allowed to say that because I'm from England.
Oh, you are from the UK. Oh,
Yeah, but secretly, shh.
oh. We won't
This is not looking super great, but we're getting there. We're getting close.
tattle on you.
I've made 4 choices, but they will improve. I think that
I've
switching
never
the pins
seen
was a
this
very
done.
good move
It's
here.
interesting.
And I'm just kind of twisting up the tape and shoving it through the pin contacts.
I've never tried that before, by the way. This is actually, it's really interesting because we've never gone that route because we don't typically have boards like that we use. So it's an interesting way. I'm actually curious to see how it turns out so I can like recommend it to people if they have like, can I do that? I'm like, well, let me tell you, son.
I'm also curious.
Alex totally made it happen. Look at the wonderful skill
go.
at which she puts tape through these Arduino pinholes.
This one needs to be smaller or shorter. Does it though? What if I want to put everything over there? Yes. Okay. The one thing I'm concerned about is if like I have the adhesive side on the outside.
Doesn't
and
matter.
It's not, maybe
The adhesive is
Does not
conductive on
matter.
this. So
No,
Oh,
but
Josh,
is it
you
as
saying it's
conductive
conductive
as
on
the,
both sides?
it is conductive on both
fabric?
sides, Pete. Yes. Fun maker tape point. We should have like maker tape fact number 5. Maker tape is
Is
awesome
it
in
more
cupcakes.
resistant?
No. It's conductive because Pete asked every time I mentioned something about it's conductive. He's like, he has his can like, oh, Josh, so you're telling me that it's conductive on both sides? Why, yes, Pete, you know that.
Well,
That
you
is
know,
one of the things that's extremely exciting for me, honestly, because having worked with copper tape, just
tape.
the amount of pain and struggle that you have to try and get 2 of these lines to connect is such a nightmare.
Oh, I was at a maker fair, and the booth next to ours was running a conductive tape activity. Some corporation had like some people come in and do an event, and there's the kids just having a horrible time with copper tape for 2 days. It was so painful to watch because they plus it was a bad activity because they were running copper tape from one side of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper to the other. Like it was unnecessarily long runs of tape,
That's strange. Yeah.
and it was so sad. I'm like, guys, if you want better tape, just talk to me, man. We'll get you
Yeah.
hooked up like at cost. It's painful to watch this because
Yeah.
every kid's just sitting down like and they break a line of tape, gotta start all over again, break it, and it's just
Yep.
so sad.
Josh, you know what you can
Yeah.
make with copper tape?
What?
You can make people sad.
Ah,
That's what you can make.
Well, paper cuts too. Don't forget paper cuts.
Yes.
Okay. I think this is a valid circuit.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see what happens when I make my phone go, and maybe we'll cry, and maybe we won't.
I mean, it's been a while since I cried over electronics.
I have a sound effect.
It's been a couple years. Do you have a crying one? Like,
Sad trombone.
oh,
Hey!
huzzah!
Okay. Why did they all turn on? That's strange. That's supposed to be just like one color, not 3. Wait, it's cyan and green. Maybe those 2 were overlapping or something, but they're not.
No, they're
Well,
not.
let's see what
Looks
happens when we do green. Red is still 3 colors. That's strange. But
it is R2D2 like.
oh! If I put in a delay, haha.
Ah.
The thing is, it seems very confused about what low and high mean, like on these pins in general. So, delay, let's say 500 milliseconds
Ooh.
in each of these.
It's a lot of
It's
milliseconds.
like a half a
100.
millisecond, right?
It's like half of one Mississippi. It's like one miss.
Yeah.
One
Well, let's
miss.
do it that way then. Let's go crazy here. Let's just completely, go wild.
It's like live coding
Circuits
now.
gone wild. Only you can code.
Not your grandma's electronics show. My grandma's pretty cool, actually. I think she did stuff with farm equipment, but yeah.
There you go.
Okay, let's try this.
Is R2D2 like it? I can't
It-
not.
Oh, no, not doing anything. Oh, maybe I have to reset it. Maybe it wasn't done. Oh, no! It wasn't done uploading. That's my bad.
I seriously cannot think of anything but R2D2 now, Pete.
What about
Yeah, no,
R2D4?
That's a real thing.
Oh,
Ooh, it's just my USB accessories because I was drawing too much current. Wait. I have a battery somewhere.
this Pete has a
like
bad
it's-
motivator.
I
Oh
do.
boy.
Wow.
It's true.
Oh my gosh, Star Wars quotes. Yay, 70s
Yep.
movie references
Yep.
today. Usually it's 80s movie
Row
references.
row 2,
Ah.
drawer 2.
Yeah, now we're going to like 70s movie
See what
references.
I can do about.
We have a great
Thanks.
time doing this live stream. It's just it's a great time.
We've been locked in this factory for 3 months.
It's really
so
fun for me too.
I'm glad.
That's the first time someone told us that.
I was just like, oh, thank God it's over. They kept asking me questions about things I like. Human interaction. I've been stuck in this house for 3 months.
Take the board. Do it. Oh no.
I don't want to ask any questions.
Well, I've done a foolish thing here, which is that I managed to overload the sensor or the USB port on this computer, and haven't even got my little head on this guy yet. But it won't upload the new code.
You probably have to restart. I've done that before with Arduino stuff.
I
And,
know. I think I would have to restart my computer.
oh, shoot.
And what we
That's
could
not
do-
good.
And we're live streaming.
Like,
Duh.
I know. So that's my problem right now. I could go find a battery and we could play around with it as is. We could leave it where it is and come back another time. Or if you have other suggestions, I'm happy to address them.
Well,
but
you can tell us
I've
what
been-
cool things are happening on Hackster lately. Like, give us a cool rundown of like cool upcoming events or things you posted or your favorite color. I don't know, whatever.
Well, my favorite color is pretty obvious. It's blue. I'm gonna stop showing this.
no.
Well, maybe it's not so obvious anymore because my hair stopped being blue. But since about 2014 until COVID hit, it's been this sort of blue-green gradient, which is why Archimedes is this color and like it kind of matches the Hackster whatever's. I'm really excited about what's happening in AI right now. So I've been writing a bit on Hackster about that. And there's an upcoming event tomorrow, which is on my Twitter feed because I just retweeted it. It is it's called Coded Bias. It is tomorrow, an all-star cast of digital justice advocates to discuss racial profiling through AI, facial recognition, privacy, and surveillance. I've been talking, so part of the deal with Archimedes is that I use him to start conversations around facial detection, facial recognition, and artificial intelligence because he first was based off of the Google AIY Vision Kit back in 2018.
Oh, wow.
And and he's a great conversation starter around that because he specifically, his brain was chosen because you could run it offline. You didn't have to upload any data to Google services in order to run your inferencing. And that's kind of what this Arduino enables as well. I've got it attached to this piece of paper so I can't show you anymore. Oh wait, here we go. I've got another one. So the Arduino Nano 33 BLE Sense can also run, for example, Edge Impulse is a service where you can create data, machine learning and artificial intelligence models with TinyML and load them onto an Arduino, and it just lives on the Arduino. It doesn't have to upload data anywhere after you've made your training set, that is. So like to train it, if you're doing your own model and not using a pre-trained public one, then yeah. Fenrir, also, the one I was telling you about that's cardboard, I was thinking about ways to use maker tape with this guy because, again, yeah, prototyping him with like recyclable materials, and I think that it would be a great combo. You'd be able to like, laser cut the standard companion robot frame for this, but then kids, grown-ups, whoever could customize it with their own LEDs and stuff with Maker Tape, I think. And he's running an OpenVINO inferencing system that is from Intel. And for that one also you can use one of a number of public pre-trained models for AI, or you can make your own. And again, like a lot of these ones focus on facial recognition and surveillance, and I think that's creepy. So for me, that's what's really on my mind and going on at Hackster and whatever right now. I've been reading a lot by, I've been listening to Camille Eddy and Joy Buolamwini, who are two really cool people thinking about this stuff. And I'm going to stop preaching now, but I think that's honestly one of the most important things for us to be thinking about right now as technologists. And it's kind of what I'm focusing on in my work as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I love that there's been people thinking about this for ages, so we can just like look at what they've been telling us. And we don't have to figure it all out from square one. And so we should figure out how to follow up with this. I'll definitely get it working today once I've restarted the computer.
If you send us like a video clip or something, we'll post it onto our social media accounts and whatnot, and we could even splice it with a little bit of what you making it. Yeah, video editing crud. You know how that goes.
Yeah, I will. I'm sorry to make you edit video. I really am. I know how that goes. It's the worst thing.
We're trying to do as little of that as possible these days. It's just such a slog.
Especially because you're so busy. You got so many orders. As we were setting up for this call, you were taking an order for someone who just walked in.
Yeah, it's one of those weird situations. We get so little street traffic here, like, because we're a warehouse with some offices up front. I mean, it's nothing too fancy. And this amazing brick wall behind us, clearly. So classy. Green screen effect. But every now and then, like, a teacher or educator just randomly, like, stops by, especially in the area. And somebody who... I think he stopped by like my apartment, so it must have been like 5-6 years ago when he stopped by to pick up some stuff. But he was in the area, saw our name on a sign for the building, and just stopped in with his kids. And that's so weird that usually we get elderly people stopping in thinking we have dog toys.
Well, you've got a very friendly name, right? People are like, brown dog gadgets. Those are things I like.
We get a lot of pet-based phone calls. Like it's of all the weird phone calls we get that aren't like spam or legitimate phone calls for business, it's occasionally old people asking for pet stuff. You know what you gotta do? You gotta build a brown dog companion robot. You gotta do it. Well, actually, we actually have a couple of like these cheapo like dog safety vests that we picked up that we were like, well, we can add like LEDs and maybe some blinkings to it to make like a light up blinky dog vest. And we literally had these been on our shelf for like 4 years, 5 years. And of course then people have come out with like really nice light up collars and other things, light up leashes and whatnot. So the pet world is full of really great light up stuff these days, none of which we're doing.
Yeah. Especially if you're into wearables, into building wearables with this stuff, which honestly it's perfect for.
I love wearables. Like Pete and I, we both love wearables and doing them, but it's the pain in the butt of trying to deal with fabric and just, it's a 3-dimensional object. It's not rigid. It's meant to flow and move. And if things are flowing and moving, that means you might get lines overlapping and shorting out. We did make a really cool piano tie. I think it was last
like a keyboard tie?
Yeah,
that's great.
Literally it's a working keyboard tie, but we use Maker Tape and one of our, it's basically a teensy LC, one of our Arduino boards. Those all tape based, so no sewing, and you could play your tie. And it's a really easy project. But yeah, it's wearables are great. It's just a matter of building them. Like the things you're wearing now are really cool, but I imagine it took a little bit of work.
It did, and who's great in terms of like combining fabric and companion robots is Angela Sheehan. She made this incredible multimedia robot. Like mine is mostly 3D printed, mostly laser cut. My friend Aj makes a lot of ones that are mostly 3D printed, and Angela has really been branching out into this sort of fabric and like hand molded materials and stuff. That is a great place for people to look if they don't have those sort of fabrication machines like for 3D printing or laser cutting, but anyone can learn to sew. And it is a little more challenging, like you're saying, but her robot just looks so cool. It's so cool.
And I always say too, we all wear clothing every day. Well, most of us wear clothing every day. And we always like to, put some personality into them, and adding lights and wearable, especially for holidays or events or things going on. It's such a great way to express yourself. And it can be as simple as adding an LED to a Rudolph nose on a shirt, or making a full-on companion robot on your shoulder. But
I want them to be easy to make, right? We should be able to turn this into a little companion robot.
Well, I mean,
it's super easy
this
without restarting my computer.
This is my companion robot. It's a vibrating Dixie cup that's been on this desk for too long. He's just got googly eyes and angry eyebrows. But this is one of the projects we do frequently.
So are you tiny right now? Because you should show everyone that in big mode.
Pete, put us side by side. I know I'm still like tiny Josh. Oh, yay!
Look at that! Everyone with their companion.
So this is my. We did a video on this a while back too. Oh, I got a green arm, so he's green screening. But he vibrates around. Well, he can now attack our solar bug we made the other day. So.
Oh, cool!
Yay!
I love how much solar stuff you have on your site. It's really cool. I want to check that out more.
Well, and so we like using little solar panels, like these guys with vibrating motors, just to do like fun, cute personality. They're little vibrobots, but.
Yeah.
And that's why I was giving the gentleman and his kids who came in, gave him some of these to try out, because this is a new design of ours. We're just kicking around
sneak peek.
Well, yes, it's pretty easy. The key is, I kid you not, googly eyes on the underside for.
It's brilliant.
So it's nice and smooth to go against a smooth surface with rattling. Oh my gosh, Pete! It's nothing but sound effects from Pete over here. But no, but it works pretty well in the sun. And
Googly
we
feet.
finally have sun here in Wisconsin. But no, solar things are again fun too. It's just that little bit of learning curve to get into things. I know it's just always a tough one for new learners. Really, I was there myself, in the beginning, and solar's fun. But no, there's so many cool things that are happening, and everything's so darned affordable these days too, which is the cool part about it.
Yeah, you can get really cheap 3D printers and stuff. Laser cutters aren't quite there yet. You can get smaller, cheaper laser engravers, but getting them to actually cut through stuff is still pretty hard.
Pete, what you happen to know an expensive laser cutter company? What do you recommend for the cheapest workable laser cutter out there?
Well, Josh,
It actually cuts through something like paper or whatever.
So typically, you can get a K40 Chinese laser for under 300. I then recommend you update it with a Cohesion 3D laser board, which will give you full PWM
Cohesion
power.
3D laser board?
Yeah.
Splendid.
They should pay us for these plugs.
I'll ask Ray to
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pete does some consulting work with
Some
them.
support for them. Yeah.
But a lot of inexpensive laser cutters. I know a lot of schools are getting those, from either Dremel, Glowforge, Full Spectrum. I think those are the three main commercial ones, Pete.
Those are the more expensive. Yeah.
But a couple thousand, 2,000-3,000.
A couple thousand. Yeah, you can get a K40 for a couple hundred.
Yeah,
And vinyl cutters too.
Oh yeah, vinyl cutters are
paper.
great. We use a vinyl cutter for cutting paper crafts like what you did there, the pre-scoring paper for folding projects.
Even just I had to do my sort of little rough tear thing to get this to be a square from a regular piece of printer paper, and that could be much nicer. But I think that it's a good way of, I think involving papercraft in this stuff is a really nice way to get younger kids especially involved. If they don't have the patience to hang out for hours for something to 3D print, especially if there's 30 of them, you can have them all yeah.
I went to enough teaching conferences where I overheard pitches from vendors and companies telling people about teachers about the wonders of 3D printing and how it's going to change the classroom. And they're and this was 10 years ago at a MakerBot Replicator 2, and I'm in my head, I'm like, yeah, that thing you're printing off is going to take at least an hour and a half, and you got 30 kids in a classroom, and at that time I had 6 classes a day with 30 kids. I'm like, that's a couple months of printing to get everybody that thing you're doing when it works right.
Constantly, which I love the sound of 3D printers as much as anyone else does, those stepper motors, but oh boy.
Yeah, and that's why laser cutting cardboard like that is just such a quick and easy task.
It takes 2 minutes. 2 minutes to laser cut. And I almost cried because this one I stayed up all night with 3D printer one night before Maker Faire because the turntable that I had my filament on had gotten lost, and I had to rotate it by hand every time it got close to
No.
I was up till like 5 a.m. and like going from that to laser cutting, at least for the prototyping stages, makes so much sense to me. Plus with like Onshape, which is the online browser-based CAD tool that I use for designing stuff, yeah, they have an assembly tool that you can use to sort of put the stuff in 3D space and rotate it around so you can make all these design adjustments before you even put it in the laser. And I realize we're like spending a lot of time, and maybe you want a shorter show, but I'm excited to keep talking.
I mean, it's not how I do bookkeeping. I mean, it's and Pete's making a cool rocket ship.
Yeah, rocket
What?
ship.
It's a papercraft
badge.
rocket ship.
Yeah.
He's doing like a wearable version of a card we did. I think there's like 5 versions now that you put together.
Yes.
I
But
want to see.
yeah, it's up on.
Okay.
By the way, if
Nice.
anybody's still watching this show, you can find all of our directions and resources at brownoutgadgets.com, which is an overlay that will pop up.
Right.
There it goes. But yeah, like it's a papercraft like papercraft kits, which have a green screen effect through them now. But yeah, it's doing things on a cardboard and paper. My friend Ben Nelson, who helps do all that video, he calls it CAD, cardboard assisted design, because he'll do whenever he makes a big project, he'll laser cut everything out on cardboard. And then he'll build it with all the pieces and tools, and then he'll go back and do it out of acrylic, because he'll usually get like a nice fancy acrylic or even a metal. He'll CNC stuff out, but just cardboard.
Yeah, my friend actually.
Yeah.
My friend recommended thick felt, which you can get in all kinds of colors, and I thought that's brilliant.
Pete, there we go. We got this
this
guy.
guy.
Don't add Wi-Fi to a cupcake is a motto of our office. Because
I love that.
our thing is don't make a project more complicated than it needs to be for kids. Because
I kind of feel the same way about AI. You don't need AI in a cupcake.
yeah, and this is Pete laser cut this on his laser at home. It's nice thick felt, and it get the stiff stuff. Like there's definitely grades of felt. Like Dollar Tree
great.
stuff is so bad. Then you get like the medium stuff from Michael's Craft Store, and then like we put some thicker stuff like this, but it's nice and sturdy. Especially there's 3 layers on here, Pete.
Yeah, 3 layers.
Actually, you even you laser etched.
I did etch
the
it,
word.
yeah.
This is all laser etched too. Yay! But
Nice. That's nice. It looks great.
but good. Yeah, thick felt is nice. There's some good materials, or even like I like Robin, who used to do a lot of our really nice wearables. She would come in and she laser cut really thick cardstock to make backings for the jewelry. She does electronic, really cool PCB jewelry that she designs. In addition to designing aircraft, which is her main job.
What? Designing aircraft?
Yeah, she. I think I think she still works for a company. She does work on aircraft, like designing small aircraft now. She used to work for Trek Bicycle, designing bicycles. She's had a pilot license since she was like a teenager. Things I learned hanging out with Robin at Maker Faire. But she really nice, thick, heavy, like really nice, heavy black cardstock. Almost velvety it felt, but she'd do some cool laser cutting as backings for the jewelry she would be doing. But it's like that looks really nice.
I think that'd be a really nice way to upgrade Finn and have it look nicer and feel nicer, like an actual animal kind of. And then also still have the ease of laser cutting and less freaking out about sewing stuff together.
Yeah, and Pete, you glued this together, didn't you? With
Spray glue, yeah.
Oh, spray glue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's my friend Cindy who recommended that to me, and I haven't, it's been open in a tab for months, so maybe I'll actually do it now.
They're on the floor even. We have little make magazine robots that have felt too.
Oh, yeah. You gotta have those. Archimedes has one of their bandanas on it.
Oh, nice.
See, but it's got the little Mickey robot on.
And since everyone's doing everything in vector designs anyways, just a laser cut or using a Cameo Silhouette. We have one of those we use for a lot of papery and vinyl-y stuff. Pete made a very nice vinyl cut keytar for our wall out of black and white vinyl.
Yes.
So you can touch it and it plays a fun keytar riff.
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We have fun.
So, speaking of making things, I feel like I should. I really want to get this working. I really do. It's like itching me. And I want to get this back to you so that we can get this out today.
Send us a video. It's all good. So we should probably close this up. So hey, let's throw up all of Alex's info again, Pete. Throw it up.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Let's
throw the overlay.
see.
So
We've got,
you can find Alex at this wonderful
right
moving.
here.
There we go. Moving.
Make it big. Look at that. Whoa.
Where is it?
It's over here now.
Twitter. There we go. Pete's having too much fun. Like a cat chasing things. All nambly pambly.
Internally.
There you go.
But you
Cool.
find all of Alex's
sweet.
cool stuff on Twitter. She posts tons of fun stuff all the time. So definitely check that out and check out all the cool stuff she's doing at Hackster as well. Because there's
Yeah, you can find Hackster.io on Twitter or just Hackster.io. I've put up a link to that AI, I forget what they called it, but the AI session tomorrow, which I think is going to be really exciting.
Cool beans.
And yeah, you can find all kinds of stuff.
That's awesome. You do some really cool stuff. It's always fun to see what you're posting on Twitter because you're much more Twitter focused. Like on Twitter, like you posted like 10 cool things. I'm like, I made a gear on a oh my gosh, my Lego piece isn't showing up. Green screens.
Don't pick up that.
Yeah. You post a lot of really cool things constantly, and a lot of good conversations with other really cool maker people as well. I've noticed on there, so it's pretty cool. So keep up the good work. We enjoy watching you do cooler things.
Yeah, some makers do. It'll be awesome. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Ooh, credits.
And credits.
Thanks for watching. Please visit browndoggadgets.com for parts, projects, and curriculum. Follow us on social media at browndoggadgets. Check out our live streams at Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We'll see you next time.